So they're marketing Terminator Dark Fate pretty heavily on the idea that producer James Cameron returns, which would be all fine and dandy were it not for the niggling little issues like A, he never spent a single day on set, and well, B, the last piece of crap this series spat out came complete with this nauseating level of Cameronian fellatio, whereby like Big Jim started spouting off about how in his mind that was the third movie in the franchise and fans were gonna love it. You ever see Terminator Genesis? I mean, maybe stick to the unobtainium there, Jimbo, huh? Dark Fate's actually not bad though. I mean, it's the best sequel since T2, but if we're being honest, that's kind of like a bar so low you may as well call it a pavement. New Terminator flick, oh boy. Yeah, so this one's got a human destined to change the world marked for termination by an advanced cybernetic assassin from the future, so we got that. There's a protector from that same future, check that box too. Runny, jumpy, shouty set pieces, check, check, and check. Arnie is a T-800, boom, one of the Connors. Yeah, this is all pretty much par for the course if we're being honest. Except this one comes from Deadpool director Tim Miller, who managed to make that movie on a relatively shoestring budget, so the odds are pretty much in his favor for cranking something half decent out of a properly budgeted Terminator flick, right? Well, as it happens, half decent would kind of rather aptly describe it. It's got the scale, it's got the action, it's even got some of the grit and the gristle. You could easily call this the best possible sequel you could make to Terminator 2, even going so far as to absolutely slap the ending of that movie with one of the most obvious time travel conundrums imaginable when you think about it. Does work though, and the results, particularly for the return of Linda Hamilton, are more than a little badass. That word comes up a lot. Yeah, Hamilton's back, and she's in full We Got Jamie Lee for a Halloween reboot mode with potty mouth attitude to spare. The obvious hook for her this time round is that there's a new young woman marked for death by an alternative Skynet, which is called Legion. It's from a different future too, but not a million miles away from the one that Sarah Connor, John Connor, Miles Dyson, the second T-800 put a stop to in Terminator 2. So no more Judgment Day's inevitable stuff, just a whole other future now that neither Sarah nor a T-800 named Carl, no seriously, have any knowledge of. Our quarry this time around is Danny. She's a young Mexican woman played kind of unremarkably by a rather too wide-eyed Natalia Reyes. Her cybernetically augmented protector figure is Grace, who's played by the frankly awesome Mackenzie Davis from The Martian and Blade Runner 2049, and your big bad Terminator is the ludicrously named Rev 9, who's played by Gabrielle Luna, who's literally known only for being the Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The special abilities on this one, despite the name, don't involve energy drinks though. This one can literally split itself into multiple liquid metal Terminators, leaving behind the old like trusty metal skeletal one. We're all caught up. It's pretty spectacularly uncomplicated, to be honest. Like, it's fine. Miller helms it rather ably. Ken Seng's visuals periodically sparkle, but you will literally never speak of this movie in the same breath as either of the first two Cameron movies, unless you literally are Cameron and you're getting endless royalties for continuing to kiss this franchise's ass. But it does genuinely lack any of the sort of heft, the physicality, or even the sort of cold sterility that made the Terminator series so chilling to begin with in those first two. Those don't feel like movies. Those feel like big honking sci-fi horror stories taking place in like a real world. This feels like a movie. More so, it actually feels like a movie you've already seen, not the least of reasons why being that yet again a new Terminator movie can't seem to evolve itself past the basic remit of simply doing the plots of T1 and T2 again, albeit now with even less convincing CGI and a marginally better version of the alternate timeline gubbins from Genesis rammed in there. It has its moments, and far more actually than anything the series has come out with this side of the Sarah Connor Chronicles, so RIP SEC, yo. And you can absolutely just refer to this as a better Terminator 3 without in any way being reductive about it, though it doesn't contain a single moment as cool as Arnie on a crane. That shit was tight. Where it does genuinely succeed though, and I didn't expect this at all after the glorified TV pilot movie we got last time out, is in presenting Dark Fate as a sort of bona fide big budget blockbuster Terminator flick for the 2019 marketplace. So obviously you gotta have Junkie XL bwhamming the Terminator theme every 9 seconds. You gotta have political commentary by introducing elements such as border security and the treatment of immigrant detainees, and you gotta have an evil Terminator in there with just enough personality to know that claiming to have served will get you a long way in US law enforcement. Sounds like I'm being down on Dark Fate, but I'm really not. It's like if you don't go to a Harvester for a decade and then you rock up one day to check out the new menu. It's the same old selection, really. They're just using marginally cheaper ingredients and the decor's a little prettier. Gotta give them their dues, though, for learning that Halloween trick and bringing Hamilton back, though. Let's be honest, nobody ever gave much of a about John outside of Edward Furlong being decently sparky in the role that one time. Christian Bale sucked, which shouldn't be scientifically possible, and we remember so little about Nick Stahl's existence that the dude once went missing for an entire week in 2012, and the only person who noticed was his wife. So yeah, good call hanging this one on Linda Hamilton. Mackenzie Davis is a blast. Total gay girl pinup in the making there. She's insanely badass. And while Luna's not got an awful lot of charisma to bring to the table after like Robert Patrick's T-1000, but let's not kid ourselves, who really does. At least Arnie pops up though to inject his sort of well-worn persona into the mix and give it some flavor. This Arnie, by the way, Carl, no, seriously, whole different animal to what we've seen before. Gives the man himself something as a sort of Clint Eastwood-like presence to play with. Takes his Terminator into entirely new terrain for this series. Really worked for me. Look, you know what you're getting because you ate at this restaurant when it was great 30 years ago. It's pretty above average now. Not amazing. Few too many series in-jokes, a little bit of patronizing level of fan service across the board, but it mostly lands. It packs in a couple beats I didn't see coming, despite the most spoilerific ad campaign since, well, the last one of these. But it's a 3-star movie if we're being objective about it. There's obvious setup for more sequels, naturally, because it's a movie in 2019. You might like it, doubtful you'll love it, but Carl, man? Really? Carl? Did you know that Terminator 2 and Sonnenfeld's first Addams Family movie came out in the same year? Man, the 90s rocked. Anyway, the studio execs evidently agree, because them Addamses be back in animated form with a whole new cast, a new twisted feature film tale in which they take on, like, contemporary gentrification, specifically in the form of a new manufactured town erupting around the iconic Addams mansion. I'll hit you with the most important part here, the casting. So, Oscar Isaac as Gomez, Charlize Theron as Morticia, Chloe Moretz as Wednesday, Finn Wolfhard, Never Soft as Pugsley, Nick Kroll as Uncle Fester, Snoop D-O Double G as Cousin It, and Allison Janney as the villain. Now that's a lineup. One that does admittedly suggest that they cast it for live action, but it's an impressive one all the same. And they're all great. Like, lots of fun to be had with the tried and tested Addams patois of just heaping morbid and macabre humor in the face of, like, suburbanite Walmart shoppers. But if there's a flaw to be found in reviving this franchise now, other than that, the Addams Family and Addams Family Values were both basically perfect movies, it's that there's no unique hook you can hang this on in this day and age, especially in animated form. Despicable Me kind of rules the creepy villain tropes, has already churned out an entire trilogy with spin-offs, and Hotel Transylvania's got the macabre monster humor down, has already churned out an entire trilogy with a TV show. So the things that set the Addamses apart are a little more inert now than they ever were. I mean, I get the decision to go animate was likely down to cost reasons, but the unique nature of the IP, not to go all marketing on it, doesn't quite hold up when it's, well, far less unique. Live action, unique. Animated, fine, but money for old rope. That said, Moretz makes for a really great Wednesday, and Oscar Isaac's tons of fun as Gomez in a way that'll just have you calling everyone Academia for at least an hour afterwards. It's got the humor you know and love, just a teeny bit more filed down for the kids, and it makes for a pretty solid, if unremarkable, family trip to the multiplex, to be honest. It's made boatloads of money, and it's gotten a sequel greenlit already, so the 3 stars I'm giving it won't mean a damn, but it is worth a peep. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, rate, and review.